Just footsack your mouth and listen. It's No Through Show, guys. We are live. That's right, guys. The No Through Show podcast. With me, as always, is Bruno. How's it going, Bruno?
Lekker, thanks.
What is happening? We have the P3 Studios and Moffat Avenue. But right here in the city of kings and queens. Mm-hmm. Oh, speaking of queens, we haven't spoken about our favorite queen of all time, which is
Jenner.
Bruce Jenner. Since he got his item, snipped off.
I did see something recently on him.
I tell you what it was. I tell you what happened to Bruce Jenner. Him, Bruce Jenner, the Queen. No, what's her real name now? Caitlyn Jenner. Mm-hmm. She wanted to be Kanye's vice president. That's what you saw.
Exactly right.
Yes.
Oh, what a team! What a team!
Kanye and Caitlyn for 2020, baby.
So I saw another article today, which was when Kanye gave his first speech thing. Did you see that when he was crying and everything? So it was actually something out of what I would imagine is just a comedy movie. Something which those far out American comedies where they're so outrageously over the top. That's what it looked like.
So like National Lampoons.
Yeah,
basically.
National Lampoons become president. That's what it would be.
But what I'm saying is that if America has become this place that if you get more likes and more reactions on your Twitter, and that's your presidency.
Well, that's how Trump won.
And so this guy here is gone on. He's gone on and he started to bawl. He started to say that he told Kim to have an abortion and to almost killed his own daughter. He's got really into the news because that's the only reason why we heard it. We heard about it here in the deepest, darkest, barren jungles of Africa.
So, it makes sense that someone said the other day, I was having a discussion with him. Their theory is that, because he loves Trump, He's a Trump fan. They reckon that he's running like this for president, gather all the online followers, which is like we've spoken about, is how you win these presidencies. At a late stage, it's like 100 days to go till the elections or something like that, right? At the late stage, he was just going to just drop everything, pull out and push all of his votes to Trump. He's distracted from the current issues with COVID and the BLM and everything. He's taking away from that because he's just so over the top. Get all the votes because all the youngsters, everyone's like, how are we talking about it? Yeah. How ridiculous was this? Yeah. Get all those votes. And at the last minute, he's like, hey guys, I'm going to pull out. It's just a little bit short notice, but Trump's my man.
Yeah. That's
and
politics.
Trump just takes it, man. There is no limit to what Americans are willing to do, it seems, to win a presidency.
After that interesting speech that he did, however, there seemed to be some sort of damage control because he came out and said, confessed that he's bipolar. And that's why he went off on this sort of interesting kind of rant. Although now it's all about the media.
Is he now medicated?
Ah, man.
Because you can't just say, guys, you know why I killed all these people is because I was a psychopath.
Yeah,
but then not get treatment and still be one, then that's not cool.
Well, if you are and you're a psychopath, you could probably end up being the president of the United States of America. Ted Bundy, 2020. Raised from the dead.
I'm sure there are many people and countries out there which might actually say that that's true. Ted Bundy might have been a nice guy compared to some of the stuff which has been happening out there.
I tell you who else is another nice guy, and someone that we speak about quite often, and that is the iron-fisted, lisping speaker, Michael Tyson. So he's confirmed this week that he is fighting. And he's fighting an 8-round exhibition match against Roy Jones Jr. And I don't know if you've ever heard Roy Jones talking. He's also got a lisp. So it's like the battle of the lisp.
Are they going to do one of those videos? Those psych up videos?
They've done one. They've done one, and they've both spoken.
They're both lisping at each other.
Mike Tyson was crying. He's quite an emotional guy. I don't understand. In his podcast, he often talks about, the demons within, and he starts bawling. Anyway, in the this pre-match hype, he's like started crying. He started talking about the one voice on his shoulder saying, "Take it easy,"
man.
and the
This
other one
guy
saying, "I'm going to
help.
teach him a lesson." This guy.
He's actually crying for help, but no one's helping him. They just want to see him beat Owens to death.
We like, we don't want to. There's so much. I think there's more pressure on him now on this comeback with Roy Jones Jr., who's also retired and an older guy. A great boxer, by the way, a bit smaller, but lispy nonetheless. And there's a lot of pressure on Mike Tyson. He's 54 years old. He's been training like a beast. He smokes so much dope. He's probably paranoid to shit.
Who, Tyson?
Tyson.
Yeah, mate. I don't even know. I mean, we've spoken about this. It's almost like a theme in the last couple of weeks. But I don't think anyone in this world can even wait to see this match, man.
It's gonna break the banks. I'm telling you what.
Because he turned down a $20 million offer, didn't he, to fight recently?
I read a quote the other day that he said that sometimes he likes, and I don't know if it's on social media, so who knows if it's actually real. But sometimes he likes to put a balaclava on. This could go anywhere. He likes to put a balaclava on, dress in old clothes, go into the street and beg for quarters,
Sure.
or rob people at fist point.
Either scenario is plausible here, man. I'm not going to lie. I would love to see him in a balaclava begging for quarters.
And when you tell him to futsek,
I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I would actually quite enjoy to meet Mike Tyson, man. I think I would have a bloody blast. Don't you scheme? He should be a guest on the show.
We should get him on the podcast. Yeah. After he earns $50 million from this.
Maybe before he earns. Otherwise, it might be a bit expensive.
So Roy Jones Jr., that is happening, I think, on the 12th of September, 2020, where Tyson will take on Roy Jones Jr. for the battle of the biggest lisp in boxing.
So when they put on their mouth guards, do they actually sound the same?
They probably sound better. They could spit at each other.
Now they talk in articulate English.
No, that's Frank.
Queen's English.
Isn't that Frank Bruno?
Is it?
No, Chris Eubank. Eubank speaks like he might actually have grown up at Buckingham Palace. It's amazing. It's with a lisp, by the way.
Oh, man, what's wrong with these ones, man? They're getting smacked in the mouth too much.
Yeah, I think when you get closed in the mouth. So I bet you Sydney Green from BG has been giving many a lisp. Right? If you hear people lisping around Bulawayo in Zimbabwe, you might know that they might even change the name of lisp to either Green or Tyson.
Yeah, for sure. The syndrome.
So now we're in England. Let's stay in England. I mean, tell us about this Banksy story you were telling me about earlier, because it's quite interesting. And, we all love Banksy. Banksy is incredible. And you are right. He is one of the few artists today that is making money while still alive. And
relatively, active and young.
But also, he's not like a fine artist, his concepts are great. But he's not doing the tiny little brush strokes, and he's basically tagging
places. You can
places.
be a genius in any kind of art, right?
You can be, even in pugilism.
And he's getting the money, man. In London on the tubes, he has a couple of series, and
but how do you have a series on the tubes? Who do you tell? Is he not answering to somebody in the council?
How it works?
Or does he just rock up and illegally spray paint stuff on walls?
Well, that's how it started, for sure.
Yeah.
But you know how it is. Once you're famous, you can illegally take lives if you want to, man. And it's okay. So,
like Tyson.
Yeah, or, other football legends which got away with things.
Who was a football legend that murdered
Simpson?
someone?
OJ?
Oh, American football. Yeah. Yes. But he ended up...
not British football.
Yeah, I was like, which British football?
Not soccer.
I can only remember Zinedine Zidane headbutting the other guy in the chest. I didn't think he died.
He probably could have afterwards from internal bleeding.
So what happened with this Banksy story? Because this sounds like a good one. This one is almost cringeworthy to me.
The article said, because it's a bit sensationalist, that cleaners went into the tube, not knowing what was happening, and cleaned the tube properly and compromise some of his Banksy's drawings, which could cost the TFL owns in cases like £7.5 million.
Who's TFL?
That's the Transport something of London.
All right.
So
what were they planning on doing? Selling those pictures?
I don't know if it's like damages, because people actually will go and ride the tube just to see a Banksy picture.
That is true. That is.
And if you work out how much losses they could have made, then that's why they're saying it could be worth £7.5 million. And now they're asking Banksy, which I don't know how they do that, but they're asking him to come and do it again.
No, but you can do it. So obviously Banksy, if people that don't know who Banksy is, he's a British artist who goes up and paints these murals in strange places, on walls and on all sorts of places around London. And then, but he's meant to be, and started off unknown. Nobody knows who Banksy is. It's a little bit like Daft Punk, and they wore the things on their heads. But I have a feeling he might be known now, because I'm sure he has to hand in his tax return forms after earning all these hundreds of millions of dollars. However, it's bizarre at the end of the day how he's grown so big and how he can influence people riding tubes and going places to have a look at it. In fact, he drew quite an awesome mural on a children's home, like a boys' home, so that they could, I suppose they cut out the wall and sold that as a Banksy piece, and it sold for millions of pounds, and that children's home got that money because it was on their building, which is quite cool.
Yeah, it's always cool when you're doing something for the charity. I'm sure there's a whole like Banksy tourism out there. Eh?
Yeah, there
Go
must
and
be.
see, to follow the Banksy drawings.
He might be the mayor of London, for goodness sake.
It could be anyone.
Could be anyone.
I know.
Tell you.
Anyone. But I'm sure we actually do know. Fact check.
Hey guys,
you want his actual name, please?
Simon, if you wouldn't mind just fact checking this fact for the next section. Do we know who Banksy is, or anybody know?
And possibly how much he's worth.
And if they're asking him to repaint those paintings, how do you contact him? Well, you contact him on his...
Just leave a spray paint on the tube.
Please
help us.
But you also could just use his Instagram.
For sure. I mean, anyway, so that was that. Cleaners doing a thorough job. I'm surprised they didn't know.
Probably Polish cleaners.
I'm surprised they didn't know who it was, but I guess it doesn't take too much for you not to know what a Banksy picture is, doesn't it?
Yeah. If it's cool and it's spray painted onto a wall where it shouldn't be, it's a Banksy. But there must be a lot of fake Banksys out there.
Oh, it's got to be. And also, sometimes they're just subtle things. They're just like the most, even these ones, the rats. It's rat sneezing.
I don't know that one.
And the rat parachuting, whatever. But it's they're very small items, really. Like not even an A4. So you might just scream, what's this? I've been told to clean the tube. I'm cleaning it, man.
These flippin' bastards keep on spray painting the damn tube.
By the time you've picked up all the honk, snot, feces, and everything, by the time you reach the picture, you're now scrubbing. Right?
Let me tell you a funny story about, we all lived in London for some time, and traveling the last tube from Tottenham Court Road, centre of London, back to where we all used to live down in the south. And I was with a good friend of mine, Noxie, and we had been drinking in Soho for most of the afternoon and into the evening. And I think it's like 11:45 or 11:30. You get that last tube; it's packed. The whole platform is just packed full of people, and everyone's quite fezzy. And we jumped on the tube, and there's no room. I mean, it's like rush hour in the morning, and you're like that. And I can just remember my friend, and he just started to do that heave. He started to do that dry heave.
Oh, yes.
And then we're stuck in there, and then all of a sudden, just the circle of space just opened up, and he just honked about 7 hours of burgers and beer and cosmopolitans, probably because we're in Soho, right there by the door, because you try and push yourself close to the door as not to offend as many people. And the place was so like sardines that it moved. And we had like 1.5 meters around all of us, a pile of honk, and we got to sit on chairs the whole way home.
Not even one shit given, bro. Yeah, I'll sit here right next to my honk. Thanks, Owens.
So that's what you got to do, guys. Just pop the honk down if you want some space on the
Pop
tube.
the honk down.
Just put the finger down the throat and put one right next to you, and then you've got seats for days.
Awesome, bro.
All right,
Awesome.
guys. Let's wrap that one.